Hello everyone, this is Charlie from the Bloomingdale Public Library, and today we're going to be discussing live streaming basics. Full disclosure, I am not a streamer, I do not have much experience streaming, and to be quite honest, I did not have as much time to prepare for this course as I would have liked, but that's okay. There's a reason why so many people have started live streaming, and that's because, at least at the most basic level, it's pretty easy from a technical standpoint. So with that said, let's get started. First things first, you're going to need a few things. So basically everything above the dashed line is a requirement, and everything else is just to enhance your stream or provide different kinds of content. So first thing you need is to be at least 13 years old. And that's true of using any social media platform. It's a matter of law, and I think it has to do with information collection. And I think a lot of people would argue that maybe that number should be a little higher. Something else you'll need is a device to stream with. This will usually be a PC with a built-in microphone and webcam. Of course, a MacBook would work too, or a mobile device. For our examples today, I'm going to be using YouTube, which will allow you to stream with their app on a mobile device. However, you will need at least 1,000 subscribers to your channel to do so. So at least for YouTube, you're starting on a desktop or laptop. You also need an account with the platform you plan on streaming on. So you'll need a Google account for YouTube, a Twitch account for Twitch, etc. And the last thing you'll need is an internet connection. The better your connection, the higher quality of stream you'll be able to produce. And to be upfront, I'm not going to be discussing those numbers today. So some other things that can produce different kinds of content or improve your stream are microphones and cameras. So what usually comes with your computer or laptop is not the highest of quality. So people will usually buy a discrete microphone and a high-end camera to improve their stream once they start getting serious. A capture card is necessary if you plan on streaming video games or something from a high-end camera. Again, you just need a way to get the video into your computer, and that usually looks like HDMI inputs. Some lighting is helpful if you plan on using a camera to show your face or the environment. Otherwise, everything will usually be tinted the color of the monitor as the light shows off your face. Some people use green screens to put themselves in front of the content and show a little bit more of the display versus having a box cut out of whatever they're showing. There's also an encoder for screen capture. I'll get into that a little bit later, but we will be using software called OBS, and that is basically something all the streamers use, and there's a reason for that. Other things that are helpful are a second monitor, and again, this is usually to monitor OBS where it is out of the way of whatever you're doing. And some people will use a second computer to handle the encoding load to allow better performance on their main PC. So that list isn't nearly exhaustive, but I think that covers the basics. I just want to elaborate a little bit on a few items from the list. One of those items is the capture card. In case you never really stared at the ports on your computer, typically you don't have a video input. So the capture card would be a way to get video input into your computer to allow other devices to become part of your stream. So typically these will take the form of HDMI inputs, but if you have goofy equipment or maybe something extremely high-end, you might have proprietary ports instead. A lot of capture cards will have something called pass-through, which will feed the video stream both to your computer for encoding and to be part of your stream, and to a monitor so you can play your games or whatever with a little less latency. If you're just streaming content from your PC and you're not using consoles or cameras or whatever like that, then you really don't need a capture card. Although, like I mentioned from the list, some people actually use one computer to handle all of the streaming duties and use another computer for their gaming or demonstrations or whatever. And in that case, you would need a capture card to capture input from one PC to the other. So if you're looking to purchase a capture card, some things you want to look at are things like the number of inputs, max resolution, potential frames per second, high dynamic resolution, etc. And I've seen them go for, under 100 to over 200. It depends. Here's a few examples of capture cards. The one on the left is a very basic one, so if you were using a console, you just plug your console output into the input here, and that guy goes into the USB port on your computer. Piece of cake, very simple. The next guy here is a capture card with a pass-through. You'll notice that there's 3 ports, so one would be for the HDMI input, and then the USB-C port would go to your computer to capture the video, and then that other port is an HDMI out, which will go to your display. So again, this just cuts out the computer processing, so you have a little less latency while you're doing whatever you're doing on your display. The final example is an internal capture card. So this would require probably a little bit higher end of a PC and an empty PCI slot, because that will plug directly into the PCI slot. And as you can see, that guy has 4 HDMI ports, and they're all inputs. And that would be helpful if you had your streaming PC. You could plug in your Xbox, your PlayStation, and your gaming PC all into it at once. So there's plenty of other examples, but these are just a few. One more item from the list I'd like to look at a little bit, but not get hung up on, is an encoder. So if you're planning on just putting yourself in front of a webcam and microphone and streaming yourself on YouTube, you don't need to worry about this. It's only if you plan on doing any sort of video capture that it'll come into play. And again, what an encoder is it converts raw video footage into digital files for streaming or recording. Basically, you're breaking up the video footage into chunks of data because they travel across the internet faster. So an encoder will also allow for screen sharing, using additional video and sound, and just generally managing your production and putting all these pieces together into your stream. In case you didn't know, raw video footage is basically a collection of individual frames. So a raw file with high speed and high definition recording will get very large very fast. So basically each frame will be its own image, whereas an encoded video stream will find efficiencies. So it won't be reproducing every pixel for every frame. And for that reason, the more motion you have in your stream, the more it's going to bog it down, because it won't be able to use the efficiencies of the encoding. So encoding a video stream compresses raw video into another format, which is typically H.264, which is more suited for streaming. There are later versions like H.265 and I think VA1 or AV1, and those are basically encodings for higher resolution, higher speed, and I think better HDR. So an encoder can be either hardware or software, and the most popular software encoder is called OBS Studio, which we're going to get into a bit, and I wouldn't worry about the hardware so much. The hardware encoders can be standalone boxes, similar to the video capture cards, but they're also included on a lot of the NVIDIA cards, a lot of the later AMD cards, like I'm talking about graphic processors, as well as the Intel CPUs. So again, don't worry about that so much, because when you use OBS, it has all that functionality integrated where you can select hardware solutions if they're available. Once you've got your equipment squared away, it's time to decide where you want to stream. And where you decide to stream probably depends on who you want to reach. So the biggest streaming platform is probably Twitch. Twitch is owned by Amazon, and it's oriented almost entirely around gaming, or at least that was the original intention. There's definitely some offshoots that have developed. Still, unless you were going to get into game streaming, that's probably not where I would go. I would probably opt for YouTube Live instead. Now, I've heard streamers on YouTube have had trouble getting discovered. Usually when people go on Twitch, they're looking for streamers of a particular game or subject, whereas YouTube people are usually looking for VODs, and VOD stands for videos on demand. So the successful streams that happen on YouTube are generally from people that already have a community that is developed around their VODs, and those streams orient around maybe raising money for charity or doing question and answer sessions. You have Facebook Live, which is probably third on the list. I know they're trying to develop a gaming community as well, but otherwise there's all sorts of other people that are more easily reached on Facebook than the other platforms. And you see a couple of the others I have listed there too. I'm not sure what Twitter Live is supposed to be focused on. You have Instagram, LinkedIn, and there's a whole lot more. The ones that I've seen tend to deal with business streaming though. So like I said, we're going to look at YouTube today. And when you do YouTube streaming, if you're just going to do the webcam and microphone route, like I said, you don't need to do any encoder stuff, but you still need to go through a small process before you can start streaming. And this will apply to people that do the encoder route as well. So before live, you have to go to this website here, youtube.com/verify, to verify your channel. Basically, you put in your Google account, and they'll ask for a phone number to verify. Or I actually had a secondary email come up, which worked as well. But on the official page, they say to expect a phone verification. And once you do that, you log into YouTube. And at the top, you see a little button that says Create, and you click on that. Then there's a drop-down menu that says Select Go Live. You click on that. And then after that, you're going to get a countdown that is 24 hours long. And only after that will you have access to live streaming. And just to show you where that is, we will bail out of the slideshow. And go to youtube.com. So again, you'd go to youtube.com/verify. I'm already verified, so it doesn't come up for me. Then you go to YouTube. As you can see, I'm already signed in. And up here is where you click the Create and then go live. I've already waited my 24 hours, but if it were you, this screen would be blocked by a 24-hour counter. Since it's not, I'm now good to create a stream, and we'll cover that next. Okay, so I'm logged into YouTube. I've waited my 24 hours. I'm now going to start a stream with a webcam and microphone and show you how step by step. So we're going to go to the Create button at the top here and click Go Live. On the left side, we want to make sure webcam is selected. I'm going to create a title. And then we'll do a description. And I don't have any options for how to go live. The webcam is all I've got there. Category. Here's the list. I'm going to choose How To. And then a thumbnail. So if you roll over the question mark, you see the requirements for the thumbnail. It's got to be 1280 by 720, and it can be one of those various file formats. And it has to abide by the community guidelines. I'm going to go ahead and choose my pre-made thumbnail there. There we go. And if I had playlists, which are just ways to group the videos in your channel, I could select that. Audience, you can choose whether or not it's made for kids. This will affect the ad revenues and how visible it is. So I'm going to say it is not made for kids. Age restriction, no, don't restrict. Click Next. Customization, you can choose whether or not you have live chat. You can choose who participates in live chat. And if you have a lot of people chatting, things can go by really fast. So you can set a message delay, which will keep people from responding too quickly and help you keep up with the chat. I'm good there. Last option is visibility. I'm going to make this private. And for schedule, If you leave everything as it is, you should go live right away. Otherwise, you can choose to schedule it sometime in the future. I'll tell you right now, because of the recording software I'm using, which is cloud-based, I've had issues actually doing things with my stream, so I might not be able to close it. But nonetheless, we will click Done. Gives you a preview of your thumbnail and your title. If everything looks okay, just click Go Live. And there you go. So at this point, I am doing a live stream. I don't have anybody in my chat. I can make my own message though. Just type it in, click enter, and there you go. As people type up messages and you roll over it, you'll see there's 3 little dots on the right side. If you click on that, you have some options. Because it's me, my options are limited, but otherwise you'll have options to do things like hide users, give them timeouts and things like that. And don't be shy about using those, because if somebody starts harassing other people in your chat turns toxic, or if anything uncomfortable or irrelevant to your stream happens, it's up to you to put things back. So again, don't be shy about getting rid of people from your chat and hiding messages that are irrelevant. So once you're all set, you're done with your stream, you just click on Stream. Just a little verification window there. And that's all there is to it. We went live and we're done. So I'm going to minimize that. And just to show you some of the options you have for other users in your chat, it looks like this. And again, some of these options are just to temporarily remove somebody. Others are to more permanently get rid of them, or you can see there's even an option to report. So that is live streaming through the webcam on YouTube. Pretty simple, right? Okay, so we looked at how to do a little bit of streaming, but if you're looking to get serious, you're probably going to want to do something with your channel. So let's have a little bit of a look into that. What you do is go to your little profile picture up at the top here. Of course, I haven't uploaded one. Let's click on your channel. When I do that, you see there is not a whole lot going on. So typically you'd have a picture in your little profile circle here. You'd have a banner along the top. You'd have a video set to play when you go to the channel page. Under About, you'd have a little something about your channel as well. So I don't have anything set up. If you wanted to set something up, you'd click on your little profile picture there and you'd go to YouTube Studio. And under YouTube Studio is where you'd see all the stuff about your channel regarding analytics, earning, all sorts of stuff. As far as making your channel look pretty, what you want to do is go to Customization. And here's where you can make some content for your channel page. So this is where you would add a video at the top for people that haven't subscribed, or if people have subscribed, they would see a different video if you add something here. You go to Branding. This is where you would put a picture in for your profile circle there. This is where you'd put the banner in that goes along the top of your channel page. And if you wanted to, you can also add a watermark that goes in the bottom right corner of all your videos. If you go to Basic Info, this is where you would put a description that shows in that About page, which probably nobody ever goes to. So just to look at some of these other menu options, if I go to Content, this is where your videos will show up. I don't have any videos, but if I click on Live, you'll see the live stream I just did, as well as a practice shot I had. When I roll over things, you can see details, analytics, comments, etc. I'll let you have a look at those on your own. Analytics, this is where you can see how many views you have, how many subscribers you get or lose. Comments, if you have comments to respond to, or if you're holding them for review, which is an option for your chat. This would be where you can release those. There's subtitle options, copyrights. If you have copyrighted music or material on your page, somebody might try to claim the revenue by filing a copyright strike. They would show up here, and nobody has filed a strike against my private streams yet. This earn menu item is one that you might be interested in, and this is where you see all the different ways you can monetize your channel. So there's the ads, there's super chats, memberships, etc. So again, I'm not going to cover that now, but you can have a look on your own. If you're looking to add music that won't get copy struck, you can go to the audio library here, and you have a nice list of music you can use. If you've listened to YouTube channels at all for any amount of time, you've probably heard a lot of this music a lot. There's a couple in particular that YouTubers like reusing. If you click on the filter icon here, you see there's all sorts of ways to filter. You'll notice some of the music will require attribution in the description and some will not, so just be aware of that. And you can look at a few other settings you have here, what kind of currency you're taking. If you go down to community, this is where you can set up moderators for your chat as well. So a whole lot there. Just wanted to give a brief overview before we get into looking at using an encoder. Okay, so now we're going to look at using an encoder. As I've already mentioned a couple times already, the industry standard is software called OBS. So we're going to pull up a browser and do a search for OBS. It should be the first guy that comes back. Open Broadcaster software, and as you can see, it is free to use and open source, which we like. You go ahead and click on that, and that'll take us to the web page here where we have downloads for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Just pick the one that's appropriate and click, and that'll throw you to this screen here. So I'm going to go back to the home screen here and scroll down a bit, and when we do, we see why OBS is so popular and why it works so well. It's because all of the heavy hitters in the streaming industry are funding it. So you've got YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook there. And you scroll down a little bit more, we've got NVIDIA and AMD, which is why the software works so well with the encoder hardware solutions on those cards. So we'll go ahead and close that up. Once you download it, you'll have a guy like this in your download folder. Just double click on that. You choose a folder, sit through some progress bars, and it'll take you to this window here. So you can see it's set to launch automatically once you click finish. Let's go ahead and just leave that checked. And that'll pop up some windows here. So part of the setup is choosing some options. You can change your mind on these and adjust them later if you like. The first one is how to optimize it, and you can choose for streaming or recording. We'll leave it for streaming. Next. This screen here, it shows base canvas. This is basically the resolution of the display and how many frames per second it thinks it can go. Again, you can change these later if you need to. Next. And this will be which service it will link with. So by default, it's going to link with your Twitch account. We're working with YouTube today, so we'll choose YouTube. And you can see Facebook and Twitter in there too. Click YouTube. Prefer hardware encoding if it's available. Yes. Estimate bitrate. Yes. We'll leave everything checked. And connect account. And when I do that, it lets me choose an account. I'm actually still logged into Google. So I just click on that. It says, are you sure you want to give OBS permissions? And we do. Click continue. And you see OBS is now authorized to work with YouTube. See, it's got my name there too. Click Next. It does a little automatic testing to set some settings. You just let it sit. Shouldn't take too long, but once it's all done, it'll give you the results, which again, we're not going to really get into today. But then after that, we can start looking at some of the things we can do with OBS. So we'll go ahead, apply these settings. Again, you see it's frames per second, resolution, bit rates, things like that. And once I do, it actually pulls up this window here, which is going to be the chat window for any YouTube streaming we do. Just throw that over there. You can go ahead and read through the release notes. I have seen at least one YouTube streamer update their OBS before their stream and have all their settings jacked up. It was kind of funny. But since we don't have anything set, we don't have to worry about it. Click Close, and we're good to go. Okay, so I closed the YouTube chat window because it was just getting in the way. So now we can have some fun. This black rectangle up here represents what our stream looks like, and right now it is just blackness because there is nothing there. Basically, we're going to create a bunch of scenes, and a scene is essentially a grouping of sources. So you'll see what all that means in just a sec. Our first scene is going to be a starting soon image, just to let people know that the stream is on, but we're waiting for the audience to come in. So we'll go ahead and rename the scene starting soon. And then in this scene, we're going to put an image, starting soon image. Okay. We'll browse to it. This is something I made earlier. And it's just an image that's the size of the screen, 1600 by 900. Okay. It just shows that the stream is starting soon. Bigger streamers with larger budgets will probably have animations and countdowns and things, but for our purposes right now, I think an image is just fine. Now we need a new scene. This scene will be our gaming scene. So hit OK. We're back to nothing. And our first source will be the monitor screen. So I'm going to do display capture. I'll call it monitor. OK. That is the monitor, sure enough, and you can see it moving around in real time. And I'll click OK. So if you've ever watched anyone gaming, you'll know that they usually have a little video stream of themselves. So we're going to do video capture device. We'll call it Cam 1. Okay. And we want, there we go. We'll do an interview with Sonic later. And I can use the handles here to shrink me down. So if you ever see a streamer move their cam out of the way of something or shrink it so you can see the boss fight or the stats or the health bar, whatever, this is what they're doing. They're going into OBS and moving things around. Something else to be aware of is the microphone check. So where it says mic augs seems to be working okay, but you probably want to make sure you're using the right microphone if you've got other webcams and things attached. Just click on the dots, go to properties, and instead of default, I'm going to explicitly say the blue snowball microphone. Okay. There we go. So this will be our game scene. You'll see other people put maybe editable text somewhere, or they'll have their logo somewhere, or their sub count, or biggest donation, whatever. And that's just a matter of adding more images or editable text. So let's go ahead and create one more scene. And again, this will be our interview scene. Okay. So we've got an image for the background, which we'll call background image. Okay. Browse, background, open. Okay, and again, it's the size of the display, 1600 by 900. Plus video capture. And you see, we already have cam 1 there, so we're going to click on add existing, select cam 1, click OK. There we go. We'll shrink me down a bit. And we'll click the plus sign, video capture, cam 2, OK. And this time, we want the Phillips. We've got Sonic. OK. And that is how you go about making scenes in OBS. Okay, so now that we've created a few scenes, it's time to test our stream. So before I do that, first I want to have a look at some settings. So I'm going to File, Settings. We also have another setting button over on the lower right. If you go through all these options here, there's quite a bit. If you Google OBS settings or go to YouTube and search for OBS settings, I'm sure there's people that discuss every single field in intimate detail. But the only option I'm really looking at right now is this hide OBS windows from screen capture. So if I had multiple screens, ideally I would just move the OBS interface to a second screen and then focus on streaming the first screen. But because I just have the one screen, I'm going to hide the OBS screen capture, or hide the OBS from screen capture. So when I do stream, you just won't see the OBS interface. I'll close that. Save the changes. I'm also going to bring back the YouTube chat, even though I'm going to be doing a private broadcast, and as you can see, it's not supported, but I just want to show that you can bring that back under the Docs menu. We'll shrink everything a bit so I can actually see it. And we're all set to go live. Oh wait, let's go to the starting soon scene. And I'm just going to click Start Streaming. When I do that, it says you need to manage your broadcast first. When I click on that, this should all look pretty familiar if you were paying attention when I was live streaming with the webcam on YouTube. So we'll just make sure we have everything filled out here. And set it to private. I'll set it to unlisted just so you can see the YouTube chat come up. I can't see the bottom of the window, so I'm just shrinking things a little bit. No, it's not for kids. And that's good enough for now. We'll leave the description blank. And I'm going to create broadcast and start streaming. See, it's creating a new live broadcast. The chat came alive, although it says it's unavailable. You can see at the bottom, sure enough, we're live. And right now we're just showing our starting soon image. We're also dropping frames, and that's probably because I'm saving to a cloud service while streaming at the same time on a rather modest laptop. So that's kind of to be expected. And what that's going to look like is a kind of stuttery video when we go to look at the stream. So, okay, we're starting soon. Time to start gaming. Doo-doo-doo. And then time for our interview with Sonic. And we're done. Stop streaming. You will not be able to connect. We are done, so yes. And that's all there is to it. I'm going to go ahead and close OBS. And go to YouTube and have a look at the stream we just made. So again, I'm clicking on my little profile circle here, going to YouTube Studio, Going to content, live, and here's the stream that we just created, the OBS test stream. You can see some of the things that came up there. Go back. What I wanted to do was a live replay, but it's not up yet. Try refreshing. There it goes. So do view on YouTube. And there we are. Jump around a little bit. There we go. I thought I'd finish up with a bit of advice that I've picked up from other streamers. So, as far as building your channel goes, what you need to do is create a brand identity with both your content and things like a logo, font, and colors. And that'll eventually show up on other people's websites and any merchandise you eventually make. Use social media to communicate with your audience between streams. That pretty much means Twitter, but if you eventually develop a community, that can mean something like Patreon as well. Use Discord to communicate directly with other streamers while streaming. So Discord is basically a service for chatting, and it's nice to avoid using game chat sometimes because it's not as clear. Consider using a Patreon account as a way for your audience to donate money to you if you are a content creator who doesn't primarily stream. So if you don't have the opportunity for people to donate super chats and things like that, you can open up a Patreon account and direct people there. Consider uploading content for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram to increase your exposure. Basically, the more places you can put your name and brand, the more people are going to see it and come to your channel. Some people have also suspected that creating YouTube Shorts helps you in the infamous YouTube algorithm. Considering using ways to find you with in-game usernames. You see a lot of people put TTV in their names to show that they're on Twitch TV, and pretty much everybody hates those players, but nonetheless, it's a way of showing people who you are and where to find you. A huge way that many people have been discovered is through collaborating with other more popular streamers. I mean, it's just the way things work. You discover people when they're playing with streamers that you already know. Another one, and it's annoying, is when you do have people on your channel, remind them to like and subscribe because, again, there's this algorithm thing that helps you show up in recommendations. And people say it and say it frequently because it works. Just a little bit about monetization since it was in the course description. You can work with the channel memberships, super chats, gifted memberships. I showed you where to find those. You can also find sponsors that you can talk about during your streams, so it's separate from actual YouTube ads. Those tend to pay a lot better, and it's a more steady stream. You don't have to worry about demonetization or anything like that. I mentioned Patreon already. It's just a way for people to subscribe outside of YouTube if that's what you'd prefer to do. And again, you can also develop a community that way as well for between streaming. And then, of course, there's merchandise, which is usually sold through a different store, and it's a way a lot of people have found to make a little extra money, as well as spreading their brand. Finish up with a little bit of common sense. So before you stream, always test ahead of time. Again, I've seen plenty of streamers fight with their setup because they didn't test it out ahead of time. Follow the platform community guidelines. Of course, you don't want to get banned or copyright struck or anything like that. Study what the more successful streamers do to pick up ideas and solve any problems that you run into. Always pay attention to your chat while you're streaming. Make sure to address any questions or concerns or feedback, and make sure to keep everything on the up and up and block anyone that's making you or anybody else feel uncomfortable. Just don't be shy about it. Watch what you say and show. You don't want to accidentally dox yourself. If you start talking about where you live, or maybe you have a bill laying on your desk that shows your address and phone number, etc. Again, just be careful, especially if you don't want to expose your real life self to the online public. And one last thing is to avoid using copyrighted music on videos that you intend to monetize, because what will happen is companies are actually paid to go find music that is copyrighted, and they basically can claim any ad revenue from those videos. So it's been an issue that comes up. People have been better about addressing it, but something to look out for. So I hope you were able to take something away from this. I know I learned a lot over the course of making this video. Thank you for watching and listening, and I hope you have a good day.